The Princess and the Dragon. Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful princess named Catherine. She loved playing and gathering flowers in the forest. One day, she found a dragon's egg. She knew that she couldn't take it back to the castle, so she hid it under some flowers in her basket, sneaked it into the castle without anyone noticing it, and kept it in her closet. And, like all little girls, she forgot all about it. After a while, the dragon's egg hatched. The royal dog heard the sound, so it started sniffing at the closet till it smelled something, and then it started barking. The royal housemaid went to see why the dog was barking. To her surprise, she saw a baby dragon, so she got really scared. She ran quickly to get the royal steward. She showed the baby dragon to the royal steward. The royal steward knew what to do with mice. He knew what to do with bugs, snakes, raccoons, and all other animals. But he did not know what to do with a baby dragon. "Can I keep him?" Princess Catherine asked. "Certainly not," the royal steward said. Princess Catherine cried and ran to the king. "Can I keep the little dragon? Oh, Daddy, please, I love him. Please." Prince Catherine begged. "Don't you cry, dear princess. Of course you can keep him," said the king. The royal steward threw up his arms, shook his head, rolled his eyes, and let out a long sigh. After years, the dragon started to become bigger and bigger. Inside the castle lived the royal champion. His duty was to guard the princess from anything that could harm her. The royal champion had a son. His name was Harold. Harold was born to be a big baby. As he grew older and older, he became wider and bigger in shape. He also grew stronger and faster. His father taught him how to strike with a sword, how to fight, and how to be brave. Then, when he became 10 years old, he became a knight. The royal champion did not like the dragon. It is a bad idea to have a dragon, the royal champion thinks. He knows that he will grow up fast to be a big one, and he also knows what big dragons can do. Dragons are the most dangerous animals, he said to himself. Princess Catherine didn't know how dangerous dragons are, so she loved and took care of her little dragon. She fed him and played with him. As time passed, the dragon became bigger and stronger. Having the same opinion as his father, Harold didn't like the dragon and was jealous that she spent so much time with him. One day, while Princess Catherine and the dragon were playing, Harold thought to do something about the dragon. So, he bit himself. Then he ran to his father crying, "Daddy, the dragon bit me!" The royal champion looked at Harold's hand and decided to take him to the king. "My king, the dragon bit my son," the royal champion said. The king ordered the royal steward, "Bring the princess and the dragon here at once." When the princess and the dragon arrived, the king asked, "Catherine, is it true that the dragon bit Harold?" The princess looked at Harold and said, "No, Daddy, the dragon was never even near Harold the whole day." "Well then," the royal champion asked Princess Catherine, "how do you explain this?" He showed her Harold's hand. "I don't know," she said. "Maybe Harold bit himself." The king took another look at Harold's bitten hand and said, "That's not too bad. You may go to the doctor. Please, be more careful with the dragon," said the king. Princess Catherine replied, "I shall be more careful, father." Harold was upset that his plan did not work. So, like all little boys, he tried it again. He bit his hand once more and told his father once more, who told the king once more, and once again, Princess Catherine was told to be more careful. She promised to watch the dragon all the time. Harold was upset that his plan did not work. So, he thought up a different plan to expel the dragon away. As the dragon grew bigger, he learned how to breathe fire. Harold decided to use this against him. He went to the princess's room and set fire to her dollhouse. Then he ran up to the royal steward and yelled, "Fire! Fire! The dragon has set fire to the princess's room!" The royal workers ran quickly with buckets of water to put out the fire. As the king heard of this incident, he ordered his guards to expel the dragon away from the castle. Harold's plan worked perfectly. The king told the royal champion and his guards to take the dragon far away. So far that the dragon could never find his way back to the castle. Princess Catherine was so sad. She cried for days and days, but soon the king got her a puppy. She smiled and was happy once again. Harold was the happiest man on earth, but when the king got Princess Catherine a puppy, he was sad and jealous once more. And since the puppy did not breathe fire, Harold would never find a way to get the puppy out of the castle. The dragon walked around for days and days. He was sad for leaving the beautiful, kind princess whom he loved so much. As the dragon walked in the streets, all the people were afraid of him. Everyone ran quickly to his home, hoping that the dragon does not eat him. Finally, the dragon stopped walking as he found an abandoned castle. He started living there in complete isolation. As the people were afraid of him, they got him everything he needs, from food to drink. He lived alone for a long time, but he never forgot the young, beautiful princess. So, he decided to fly every day over castles looking for his princess. Years passed, and the princess grew into a beautiful young woman. The king also grew older. He was happy that his daughter was going to marry in a month. She was going to marry a strong, tall, and handsome prince. Harold grew up to be Sir Harold, the giant knight. He was the biggest, strongest, fiercest man in the whole kingdom. Nothing could have scared him. Harold grew up to be an evil knight. In fact, he was the worst knight of all. He was very angry and jealous that the young prince was going to marry the princess. He wanted the princess for himself, but he was not a prince. Since he could not marry the princess himself, he decided that no one would marry her. The evil knight decided to harm the princess herself. He dug a deep hole in the garden and covered it with branches, so that the princess would fall into it while playing and die. At that time, the dragon was still flying around, checking castles as usual. As he found one that seemed familiar to him, he flew closer to look for the princess. While the princess was playing in the garden, she came close to the deep hole. Harold was watching her. He whistled and waved at her to come forward. She stepped over the branches and fell into the hole. The princess fainted. She couldn't even scream for help. At that time, the dragon was still looking around. He finally saw the princess. He was very happy and tried to fly closer. But then he saw what happened to her and saw Harold trying to bury her alive. The dragon hit Harold with his wing strong enough that flew him away. The dragon then rescued the young princess from the hole, and took her to his abandoned castle. Evil Harold quickly ran into the king's castle shouting, "The dragon captured the princess! The dragon captured the princess!" The king formed a big army to look for the princess. The king, the queen, and the army were looking for the dragon for days and days. At this time, the dragon was taking care of the young princess. "Don't be afraid, dear princess. I won't hurt you. I love you, and I just want to marry you," the dragon said. "But you are a dragon, and I am a girl. You should find a lady dragon to love you," the princess said. After a while, the dragon realized that he should respect the princess's wishes and look for a lady dragon to marry. The king asked everyone till he knew where the dragon lived. Then the king, the queen, and the army reached the dragon's castle and surrounded it. The princess cried, "No, don't kill the dragon. He saved my life. Don't harm him." The king ordered his men to leave the dragon alone. The king took the young princess and they went home. The young princess told the king about Harold. So he ordered his men to arrest him. He put him in prison for the rest of his life. After a month, the princess married the young prince in a very luxurious wedding party. The princess's dress was the most beautiful white sparkle dress in the world. The prince also wore a white sparkled garment. The dragon attended the party with his lady dragon. He wore a nice bow tie. Everyone was happy that day, and they all lived happily ever after.